President Trump is set to meet with the president of South Africa today at the White House. And this comes after a heated exchange on Capitol Hill yesterday between Senator Tim Kaine and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. You see, Kaine slammed the Trump administration for granting refugee status to Afrikaners while canceling other refugee programs.
I think that the United States has a right to allow into this country and prioritize allowance of who they want to allow to come in.
But I think I'm going to ask you, what?
Yeah.
So a well-justified fear of persecution?
Yeah, they thought that their farms were being burned down and they would be
anything?
killed. I think that's a pretty good justification for wanting to come. They're afraid for their lives.
And should it be applied in an even-handed way? That's an easy.
No, our foreign policy doesn't require even-handedness.
And you have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin. Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
Now, during that same hearing, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen accused the Trump administration of creating, quote, global apartheid, end quote, through its new refugee policies. President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke about his hopes for the meeting with President Trump while outside South Africa's embassy in Washington. Listen.
We want to come out of the United States with a really good trade deal, investment, promotion. They invest in us.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House with more on this. Good morning to you, Natalie. So relations between the U.S. and South Africa have been tense at points. So what can we expect from today's meeting?
Good morning, Errol. We haven't heard a lot from the White House publicly about expectations for this meeting set to take place, the arrival later this morning, then a lunch, then a bilateral meeting early afternoon. But you heard there from South African President Ramaphosa. He really says this is about trade in relations, improving those between the two countries and striking a trade deal. South Africa is facing economic concerns, unemployment concerns, which will only be heightened if a trade deal is not reached, given the tariffs that the country is facing following the pause on reciprocal tariffs coming up. That pause will lift in July. So this is really about a trade deal. But as you noted, no doubt there are heightened tensions going into this meeting, particularly around President Trump's claims that the Afrikaner community in South Africa is facing a genocide, claims that have been discredited and disputed by the South African government, even the parties that represent the Afrikaner community. The administration has also claimed that, land is being seized, the South African government pushing back against that as well. That is in a reference to the new land seizure law passed earlier this year, which the South African government says has to do with land that's not being used. So those items will no doubt be brought up on the agenda today as well as the ambassador, South Africa's ambassador to Washington, being expelled in March, cuts to foreign aid by the U.S. to South Africa. Those who cover the region also note that President Ramaphosa is known for his charm and famous for his negotiating skills. He was actually the chief negotiator for Nelson Mandela in the 1990s during the talks to end apartheid. So a lot of people will be watching to see if he's able to put his charm to full effect here at the White House today.
A lot of sensitive topics for the two leaders to discuss. Natalie Brand at the White House. Thank you.